You're good?
You good?
Oh, I know what the problem was. There we go. Sorry about
Hi,
that.
it's me. I'm
No.
the problem.
I
No.
was about to say, I've got Monster Girls on speed dial.
No, what ended up happening was I did an update and a bunch of stuff defaulted.
Oh.
Again?
Again.
Well, shit.
So sorry about that. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have of course three of my good brothers and sisters. We have, as I was saying earlier, the guy who has certain horse girls living rent free in his head, good brother Joe.
If there are no horses, does that mean the Mongol horse archers were actually horse girls with bows and arrows?
There was a bit of fan art that dropped a few weeks ago, and I wish I could find it, of someone depicting mythological horses as horse girls, including Sleipnir. And yes, Sleipnir had 4 arms instead of 2.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
We have the man behind the Wanderer's Library and the only man in this call who hates Tim Willits as much as me. Good brother Sig.
Fuck you, Tim Willits. You did not invent multiplayer-only levels.
And the woman who could probably write a full book on Chrono Trigger and not have the book be AI powered. Good sister Tabby.
Yuck.
Yes. I will not be using AI in writing my book of Chrono Trigger. We will also have, the adventures of people outside of Chrono. No, I'm just kidding. Not today.
Yeah. But having covered the races and backgrounds last time around with Joe becoming a massive fanboy for the Time Raiders.
4 arms! And 4 forearms.
We are back. We're back once again with what is probably going to be the largest section of this series. Not in one go, but the largest chapter we're going to be focusing on. And that
so much so that it feels like each class is going to have its own freaking episode.
Well, it is.
Oh, wow.
Which is something I haven't done in about 2 years. But yeah, we are covering the classes, and there's quite a few of them. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 classes. So get used to hearing us say we're talking about classes tonight. I don't know how I feel about the cover art being reused here. I mean, it certainly fits, but on the other hand, I'm always iffy about reusing art in books. It's just
So are we talking about the bourgeoisie today?
I'm not a champagne socialist.
Fair enough.
Because I actually like earning my keep, for one, and 2, I like being fed more than bread.
Fair enough.
But the class we're going to be covering this week is the Censor, but before we even get to that, we need to cover some of the things involving the outline of how classes are structured within the game. So we're going to be spending a few pages doing that before we get into the Censor proper. I said this last week, but the Censor gives me vibes of a paladin, but not 100%. That was the feeling I had last week, and we'll see if that feeling continues. But just as a refresher, the classes are the Censor, a trained warrior devoted to their saint or god, a conduit, the devoted priest of a saint or god, an elementalist, self-explanatory. Though apparently the void is considered an element in this system, so make it that what you will.
Darkness.
Oh, very Legends of the Five Rings? L5R.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there was void magic with that.
Yeah,
Void
I've
magic was
seen
a
void magic in other places too.
yeah. I'm not. It's just kind of amusing to have void magic be a element, but we'll get to that later. The Fury is very, in all but name, is very much a barbarian. The Null, I guess the Null will be the closest thing to a monk in this, even though they're psionic. The Shadow knows what evil lies within the hearts of men. Sorry, wrong Shadow.
Shadow knows.
Love it.
If there is evil in this world, it lurks in the hearts of man.
Wrong Shadow.
Dang it. Does he slit his mama's throat for a nickel?
No, that's another game.
Damn it.
Like Nick Latina Sonic.
But then we have the Tactician, which is one I'm going to be looking forward to because that's an archetype I really enjoy. The Talent, which is meant to be the traditional psychic, and the Troubadour, which I guess is I say the Troubadour is the equivalent of a bard, but I think it will not have as much of a sucking problem as the bard has had over the years.
And just from reading the description, I'm like, hey, it's my class.
But each class has a number of subclasses, which we will get into. And of course, each class has their ability set up. A few basic abilities, including free strikes and stuff like grab and knockback, which will be some of those maneuvers will be covered when we get to combat. And between race, background, and titles and treasures, you may have already gotten a few maneuvers as is. Now, each class, regardless of which one you pick, has some kind of resource known as a heroic resource. Not all of their abilities take up this resource, but the stronger ones do. So for the Censor, it's Wrath. For the Conduit, it's Piety. For the Elementalist, it's Essence. For the Fury, it's Ferocity. For the Null, it's Discipline. For the Shadow, it's Insight. For the Tactician, it's Focus. For the Talent, it's Clarity. And for the Troubadour, it's Drama. I know it would be tempting to say that those are just different names for MP, but from what I've skimmed on seeing, not only is the resource generated differently, but the way it's used is different depending on the depending on the class in question. But if it requires one of these resources, it is considered a heroic ability. Some abilities are signature abilities, which don't require your heroic resource, but you can spend it to boost it. And then we get into some of the keywords. So area is an area of effect. Charge, you have to do a charge action in order to use it, and instead of doing a melee free strike, you use this action instead. Magic, self-explanatory. If you can't cast magic, you can't use it. Melee, also self-explanatory. Psionic, see what I said about magic and replace magic with psionics. Range, self-explanatory. Strike is also self-explanatory. Like, each of the keywords, I think, is pretty straightforward in terms of what it does. Then we have the type. So we have trigger, which is going to be for reactions. In fact, that's the only type that's there. Then distance. And the range that you need to be for it. as well as the area abilities. I think each of the terms for areas is going to be familiar to folk. Aura is a radius focused on you. Burst is an area that has to be adjacent to you. Cube is, well, a cube. Line is a line. Wall is a wall. And we do have a few examples of it. And I have to correct myself. Burst is akin to aura, but it's something that's activating. It's something that moves with you, as opposed to burst, which is a close range AOE. But it's pretty straightforward here, and I have a sneaking suspicion that some people are going to look at this, get triggered, and bring up the same board game argument that they try to bring up with the fantasy edition that I'm supposed to hate, but I don't because the check bounced.
Oh.
But then we have the target entry, which is either going to be a creature, an object, or an enemy, or an ally, or self, or each target. See, then the ability roll, which is basically the power roll that we talked about before. And the three tiers of it. The difficulty rating for the tiers does not change. The thing that's going to change is the total when you're rolling dice. And of course the characteristic you might use regarding damage or abilities with damage. Pretty standard fare, but then we get to potencies. Some abilities and effects impose conditions and status effects. Ability effects that have a potency are applied to the target only if the effect's potency value is higher than the target's indicated characteristic. The characteristic a target used to resist a potency is based on the ability used, while the value for the potency for your hero's abilities is based on one of your characteristics and determined by your class. Your character has a weak, average, and a strong potency value, which works as your weak potency is equal to your highest characteristic score -1. Your average is equal to your highest, -2. -1 is average, and your highest characteristic score is your strong potency. So when we see things like M weak or R average, it's basically saying that that's the minimum score in that characteristic that the target needs to beat the effect. So in a roundabout way, the three potencies are it feels like that's kind of the game's equivalent to saving throws, but it's not a save. Like if it's M weak and your might is 4, they need to have 2 might or more. Otherwise they suffer the effect. That's the vibe that I'm getting. Well, that's assuming that might is your highest characteristic score here. It's certainly a way to streamline the whole saving throw thing. And they give an example with the Judgment Hammer. So tier 1, that is 3 plus intuition holy damage, and you need an agility weak or prone. And of course, it goes to average and strong at second and third tier.
Mhm.
So, like I said, it's an interesting way to handle the whole save. Otherwise, you deal with a debuff. And you can spend resources on potencies. Which act on that same setup. They also bring up critical hits, but I think we already covered the effects of critical hits and the fact that a crit in this is going to be a bit rarer than it might be in a D20 system. But I could see some people saying, "Oh, a critical hit just gives you an additional action." That doesn't seem as interesting as double damage, but
I actually prefer that.
I think it evens out with the fact that it's much harder to get a critical hit on a 2d10 than a d20. It's not to say it won't happen, it's just not going to happen all that often. Uh, but I realize that this is about a lot of granular stuff, but I needed to get that out. I need to get this out of the way first. And there's also another resource known as surges, which you can gain due to effects, and you can spend up to 3. When you roll damage, you can spend up to 3 surges to deal extra damage to one target. Each surge you spend deals extra damage equal to your highest characteristic score. If you target one or more creatures with an ability that has a potency, you can spend 2 surges to increase that potency by 1. Though you can't stack it, but you can spend additional surges on additional targets. I also like this. You lose surges as you spend them. At the end of combat, you lose any surges you have remaining, so don't hoard them. Then the effects. And I think the rest of it is stuff that we can skim through. Things like conditions or line of offense. Those things are pretty self-explanatory, and it looks like we do have saving throws. It is a case of end of the turn, you roll a d10, on a 6 or higher, the effect ends. If it's a save ends thing. That's a very 4th edition thing. But now we get to the fun stuff proper. after a bit of a slight diversion.
Hey, we needed a little bit of exposition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exposition.
Tell the story, tell it now.
So, the first class we're getting into is, as mentioned, the Censor. Demons and Deathless fear you. Criminals run from the sight of your shadow. Agents of chaos, blasphemers, and heretics tremble at the sound of your voice. You carry the power of the gods, armed with wrath and sent out into the world first to seek, then censor those whose actions or even existence are anathema to your church. As a censor, you're at your best against these strongest foes. Your judgment terrifies heretics, stops enemies in their tracks, and even hurls them across the battlefield.
Huh.
Interesting.
And the censor wins that contest with his fists.
Because of the way kits work, if you wanted to do a censor who punches people, you could.
Oh, hell yeah. That sounds awesome.
Lord knows I would, because I have I really love the game God Hand, even if the game doesn't love me back.
Oh, that game is great. I absolutely love it.
Definitely a game.
But
Y'all
So-
have fun with that.
But starting characteristics is you have a might of 2 and a presence of 2, and then choose between one of the 3 arrays for the remaining characteristics. So your starting ability score spread is not randomly generated or picked from a universal spread, but one that's semi-determined by your class. That is an interesting move.
Definitely, it removes that, oh, we had that discussion with a player the other day when in Castles and Crusades where they're like, I think I put my points in the wrong spot. You know, it kind of removes that feeling, if you will.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is if you're going to be doing a frontliner, you're going to be putting the highest ability score you roll into strength, no matter what, and your second highest in constitution. So I feel like this is just cutting the middleman out. It also, and if it's going to be this case where the starting characteristics have 2 out of the 5 already determined, I have a feeling that the mad problem will not exist. At least not here.
Which I can appreciate.
Are you guys familiar with what MAD is an acronym for?
No.
Unfortunately, no.
Multiple attribute disorder.
Close, it's multiple ability dependency.
That was close.
Yeah. It is in reference to those classes or builds that are asking for a high ability score in more than 2 abilities. The monk the monk in 3rd edition was a poster boy for this. Not in 4th. In 3rd edition, the monk was. In 4th edition, the Star Pact warlock was a poster boy for this. I'm trying to think if there was an offender in 4th edition for that mad problem.
I think monks still fell under that. Because they never fixed monk, even in 5th edition.
Oh god, 5th edition monks. Well, 5th edition monks. Oh.
No, that was still pretty awful.
They're overpowered as fuck.
4E monks didn't have that problem. Like I said,
I thought they did.
Monks in 4th edition, not really. They took a much different approach to the usual setup.
Fair.
And the thing, and it's more specifically, it's Star Pact warlocks who are not humans. the reason for that was if you picked human, you got an additional at-will power. Which did mean that you could potentially get multiple pacts, which is something 5th edition didn't do. Mostly because that creates something fun, and Wizard of the Coast can't have that.
No fun allowed.
Mm-hmm.
No fun allowed unless we can make money off, but
Which you put out something fun, people are gonna buy it, and you make money.
We can't have that.
But regardless, the big reason the monk was a whipping boy for this kind of thing was all the stuff that you needed. You needed a good strength to deal with the fact that you didn't have much in the way of weapons. And most of the weapons you did have needed strength. You needed dexterity for your lack of armor. You needed good con to make up for the fact that you had D8 hit dice. Because the monk is supposed to be a frontline fighter, yet it has bad evasion and bad ability to tank. Good wisdom for the whole bonus AC for high wisdom.
as well as their class abilities,
Mm-hmm.
or some of them.
And there's also the fact that for whatever reason, the 3rd edition monk had it where they did not have proficiency in unarmed attacks.
What?
Wait, what?
Yes.
That-
I had to kind of like, what?
Huh? I
That
must have
doesn't make
blanked.
any sense.
I must have blanked that part out.
It's so dumb. I don't blame you.
Like, I
It's a
don't
monk.
remember that. Oh wait, did they change that in 3.5?
They patched it out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But by the time it got patched out, the damage was done. Of course, the other
I can
problem.
imagine.
Fair enough, understandable. Yeah.
Mhm. Of course, the other problem is a lot of the monk weapons weren't that strong, and you didn't get like none of the monk weapons had D10 damage.
That's right. That's right. I remember now.
But getting back to the Censor, we have what its weak, average, and strong potency is, which is going to be reliant on presence. Starts at 21 stamina, which for a frontliner certainly makes sense. You get 9 stamina at every level after that. So once again, I'm really getting a lot of 4E vibes from Draw Steel, which makes me happy and petty at the same time. You get 12 recoveries, which certainly makes sense. Even back in 4th, the Paladin had more potential healing surges than anyone else. In part because some of their abilities allowed them to burn healing surges as a resource. But
But does he gain the ability to not drown underwater?
Wait, are you trying to say that our heroes can swim?
Yes.
Is this a reference to Hexen 2's swim up button?
Sure.
I was referencing every single one of the games that you could play that you like if you go into the water you die.
And just as a reminder, your recovery value is 1/3 your max stamina.
So in this case, it would be 7.
Mhm. Yep. And as far as skills, you choose 2 skills from the interpersonal or lore skill groups. If you need a quick build, just take Intimidate and Religion. And we have a nice little advancement chart for it. We are only doing 10 levels, but what I appreciate is, as always, no dead levels.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, very nice.
We love non-dead levels.
But at first level, you get your Censor order. This would be the equivalent of your subclass, I believe, and the 3 options we have is Exorcist, which gives you the Read Person skill, Oracle, which gives you the Magic skill, and Paragon, which gives you the Lead skill. And your choice of order will determine a lot of the features you get as you level up.
And that's... I'm thinking of my paladin right now, and I'm like, I saw magic and was like, oh, well, he's being Oracle, but then I'm like, nah, he's probably a Paragon.
So the way Exorcist is
Maybe
described,
that's-
I keep thinking of the Emperor's Most Holy Inquisition.
The Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
The Inquisition! Da da da, the Inquisition! I know, sorry.
Yep. You also choose your god or saint that you revere. And that's going to be in more detail when we get to the Gods and Religion chapter, much later on in the series. Or just ask your GM about the deities in your campaign world. After choosing that, you choose 1 domain from their portfolio. Your choice of domain determines the features you'll gain from this class. If you need a quick build, choose Cabal as a deity and War as your domain. As we mentioned earlier, you get the Wrath heroic resource. And when it comes to Wrath in combat, it says at the start of a combat encounter or some other stressful situation tracked in combat rounds, as determined by director, you gain Wrath equal to your victories. At the start of each of your turns during combat, you gain 2 Wrath. Additionally, the first time each combat round that a creature judged by you, we'll get to that when we get to the judgment entry, deals damage to you, gain 1 Wrath. The first time each combat round that you deal damage to a creature judged by you, you gain 1 Wrath. And Mr. Ramos says, is there a GM handbook or is it just heroes and then monsters? That's pretty much how it goes.
I like how some of the artwork in the Censor, everyone has a mace of like, sheesh, they must start off with a mace of contrition or something.
Mm-hmm. Though because of the way kits work and the fact that, much like my game, it's not really concerned with proficiencies in that sense of what you can and can't equip. That's why I said there's nothing stopping you from doing something other than weapon and shield.
Okay, but if I crit with my mace, can I have it release pepper spray in their eyes?
No.
Dang.
Only if it's a certain type of mace.
That's why I'm asking.
But of course, since you're automatically generating Wrath during combat, obviously generating it outside of combat is not going to be as much of a thing. Though you can do it, but it is on a limited setup. But it's very clear you're not meant to be hoarding Wrath. You're getting it every round because you're probably going to be spending it every round.
I like that.
But so you also get the Judgment action. It's a ranged magic action with a range of 10. Targets one enemy. The target is judged by you until the end of the encounter. Or if you use this ability again, you willingly end this effect, no action required, or another censor judges the target. Whenever a creature judged by you uses a main action and is within your line of effect, you can use a free triggered action to deal holy damage equal to twice your presence score to them. When a creature judged by you is reduced to 0 stamina, you can use a free triggered action to use this ability against a new target. Additionally, you can spend 1 wrath to take one of the following free triggered actions. 1. When an adjacent creature judged by you starts to shift, you can make a melee free strike against them, and their speed becomes 0 until the end of the current turn, preventing them from shifting. I like that. Especially given how kobolds back and forth were notorious abusers of shifting, so this is basically saying, you ain't going anywhere. 2. When a creature judged by you within 10 squares makes a power roll, you cause them to take a bane to the roll.
Do a power roll.
Or 3. When a creature judged by you within 10 squares uses an ability with a potency that targets only one creature, the potency is reduced by 1. 4. If you damage a creature judged by you with a melee ability, the creature is taunted by you until the end of their next turn. I.e., they have to attack you.
So it's like a paladin in WoW, but far more badass.
You can only choose one free triggered action option at a time, even if multiple options are triggered by the same effect. Now, depending on your judgment, depending on your order, there might be an additional effect that you can do. Because the first time on your turn that you use judgment to judge a creature, you gain the following benefit based on your order. For Exorcist, you can teleport a number of squares equal to twice your presence. This must take you closer to the judged creature. And you do not need line of effect. Which means they could go behind cover, and you're like, surprise, bitch.
Or if you're like or if you just killed one enemy and one's trying to run away, you'd be like, surprise!
Let's see. For Oracle, you can deal holy damage equal to twice your presence score to the judged creature. And for Paragon, you can vertical pull the judged creature up a number of squares equal to twice your presence score. Does that mean that Paragon has a launch option? Because that is what I'm thinking when I think of vertical pull.
I'm more thinking of get over here.
I'm hearing well, I was thinking get over here, and then I was also thinking yeeting. So one or the other.
Something like Scorpion's Spear would be horizontal pull.
Mm-hmm.
This is vertical pull, so it's going straight up.
Sure, you can. Anyway, actually, it's more of a Guilty Gear launch. In all honesty,
Dust.
Mm-hmm.
I hit my dust button.
You also gain the benefits of a kit. If you need a quick build, pick the Warrior Priest kit. You also get My Life for Yours, which is a ranged...
My life on the soul.
A ranged triggered action. The trigger is if the target starts their turn or takes damage. You can spend a recovery, and the target gains stamina equal to your recovery value. You can also spend 1 wrath to end one effect on the target that is ended by a saving throw, or that ends at the end of their turn, or a prone target can stand up. This is like a lay on hands that's not shit.
Mm-hmm.
I like lay on hands.
Because it's a reaction.
Mm-hmm. See, then
someone gets hurt, you immediately slap the band-aid on them.
Yep. See, then the...
Kind of like the WoW Paladin lay on hands, though, if you think about it. Because, you could be like, okay, I'm going to bubble lay on hands, and we're going to do it super fast.
Mm-hmm. And we have the domain feature. God damn it, Amov. You gain domain feature from your domain, as shown in the first level Censor domain features table. You also gain a skill from your domain.
Interesting.
And the domains that we have are creation, death, fate, knowledge, life, love, nature, protection, storm, sun, trickery, and war.
War? What's that good for?
Absolutely nothing.
That's
Sing
not
it
true.
again
You
now.
goddamn well know it.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
This joke never changes.
Like war.
Oh god damn it, y'all.
But it seems that I do like that instead of you getting a specific skill, it's from one of the skill groups. So you've got options even on that front.
Pick a skill, any skill. I won't look.
Mm-hmm. So as far as the domain features, you can have Blessing of Compassion. You gain an edge on any test made to assist another creature with a test. Additionally, when you're present at the start of a negotiation, one NPC of your choice has their patience increased by 1 to a max of 5, and the first test made to influence them gains an edge. And
Okay, Finn wants that.
that is if you have the love domain.
Oh god. Sig.
I know.
Remember, folks, the power of love is a curious thing.
Make a one man weep, make another man sing.
The blessing
Or of love.
the blessing of comprehension you can get from knowledge. You can interpret diagrams and charts even if you don't understand the language associated with them. You are considered fluent in all languages for the purpose of understanding the project source for any crafting or research project.
So I don't know what an atom bomb is, but with the blessing of my deity.
Oh.
I could teach you how to make one.
Then we have the blessing of fortunate weather, which you get from the storm domain. Each time you finish a respite, you can decide the weather conditions within 100 squares. Until you finish another respite, the weather conditions you establish follow you through any mundane outdoor locations. You can either have it be clear, foggy, overcast, or precipitation. If it's clear, you gain an edge on search or navigation skills. If it's foggy, you gain an edge on tests to use hide. If it's overcast, you gain an edge on tests to use endurance. And if it's precipitation, when the ground is muddy or snowy, you and your allies gain an edge on tests that use the track skill. If you're in the same area as a creature using this or a similar feature who has chosen a different weather effect, they negate each other where their areas overlap.
You know, but the precipitation one, they don't write it, but it also gives you a bonus towards noir storytelling.
Oh.
It was a dark and stormy night.
But
Sounds like the beginning of a terrible book.
also have Faithful Friend, which you get from the nature domain, which lets you conjure a animal spirit. It can take the form of any animal you have seen. It has speed 5 and can fly, but can't physically interact. When you're within 10 squares of the spirit, you automatically sense everything that type of animal would sense, in addition to sensing your own surroundings. If the spirit takes any damage, they're dismissed and you take d10 psychic damage that can't be reduced.
Ugh.
Brave Speech, which is from the Death domain, lets you, well, speak with the dead. As long as they died within the last 24 hours, and you can speak a language that they know. Even if they are just ahead.
Alas,
Well,
poor
maybe you
Nora.
should quit while they are.
I
I
immediately
wasn't going to take the obvious joke.
I immediately think of Yvonne from the Hellboy movie.
Dang.
You guys, when do you mind holding on to this guy? He is so negative.
So, does it have to be the head? Or are you talking to their spirit?
I think as long as as long as they died within less than a day.
Because, like, if I can grab the hand and, like, do an entire thing scenario.
Well, you couldn't do a whole scenario because you only got 1 minute.
That's fair.
You only got 1 minute, and you can't use it on the same creature twice. And Amal, did you have to reference American Psycho? Never mind, I know the answer.
Maybe.
Then we have Hands of the Maker, which is from the creation domain. You create a mundane object of size 1s or smaller. You can maintain a number of objects created this way equal to your present score. You can destroy an object created this way with a thought, no matter how far you are from it. And then we have Inner Light, which is from the Sun domain. Remember, praise the sun, folks. Each time you finish a respite...
Which sun? Is it Son of Sun?
Each time you finish a respite, you can choose yourself or one ally who is also finishing a respite to gain the benefit of a divine ritual. You place a ray of morning light into the chosen character's soul, giving them a +1 bonus to saving throws that last until you finish another respite.
Son of Sun.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, then Inspired Deception, which is from the Trickery domain. It's not feed me a stray cat. No. Whenever you make a test that uses a skill you have from the Intrigue skill group, you can use Presence on that test instead of another characteristic.
Isn't that kind of counterintuitive for basically an agent of the gods?
Not necessarily.
I mean, true, but I don't know. Just seems kind of weird to me. But hey, I dig it.
I mean, if you're playing something like your stereotypical paladin, yeah, that sounds weird unless, again, trickery gods exist. So, I mean, why wouldn't they make something fun with that?
Let's see.
You have a point.
I mean, who would ever suspect the paladin to be the thief?
That and some trickster gods would be, I could imagine them being so offended that somebody else claims to be master of trickery. Because never underestimate the power of pettiness. But we have Oracular Visions, which is from the Fate domain. Each time you earn 1 or more victories, you earn an equal number of fate points. Whenever you or a creature within 10 squares makes a test, you can spend 1 fate point to tap into a vision of the outcome, granting that creature an edge on the test. You lose any remaining fate points when you finish a respite. I can see the future! Can't do that voice. Then we have Protective Circle, which that is the protection domain. Duh. You can spend 10 uninterrupted minutes to create a protective circle on the ground large enough to hold one size 1 creature. The circle lasts for 24 hours until you create another or until you dismiss it, no action required. Only creatures you designate at the time of drawing the circle can enter and exit the area. While in the protective circle, a creature can't be targeted by strikes. So the whole don't break the circle thing from various exorcism movies certainly applies there.
It seems like that would be really useful if you know where the fight's going to be, but otherwise that one seems a little like the I can't see that being useful in a, like, if you're going to be running and gunning.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you're going to be running and gunning in this game either, granted, but I mean,
If you're taking the protection domain, you're probably somebody's bodyguard.
good point. Good point.
But
Okay, well, I need that too.
we have the revitalizing ritual from the life domain. Each time you finish a respite, choose yourself or one ally who is finishing a respite to gain the benefit of a divine ritual. The chosen character gains a bonus to their recovery value equal to your level that lasts until you finish another respite.
So good for the Oracle domain.
Because imagine the paladin going to the party. Hey, could you look the other way? Fix the lock while they're not looking. Onwards!
Yes, the way to deal with lawful stupid.
Lawful stupid.
Although I could easily see a trickster paladin embarrassing the rest of the party while they're trying to either pick the lock or see if the lock door is magicked, and he just walks right in and just opens the door. But the last good.
Oh, it definitely. Was playing Baldur's Gate 3, and my I had Astarion, and Astarion kept failing at the thing, so I was just like, just give me the freaking lockpick. And I was playing a paladin who had like no dex, and walked right up, used it, and was like, "That's how you pick the lock."
But the last of the domain features is Sanctified Weapon. As a respite activity, you can bless a weapon. Any creature that wields the weapon gains a +1 bonus to roll damage with abilities that use the weapon. This benefit lasts until you finish another respite. So here's your sacred weapon right out of the gate, and it's not a spell.
I like that.
Yep.
And while +1 to roll damage doesn't sound like much, considering that I get the feeling you're only going to be rolling 1 dice when you're dealing damage, it has a bit more impact. Plus, it's something you're getting right out of the gate if you have the war domain.
And also, +1 indicates in a lot of different systems that it's magic. So, like, if there's something if it's like, oh, well, you have to have some kind of a silvered or magic or yada 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 weapon to hit the thing, you have it out of the gate.
Yep. So then we have the Censor abilities proper, starting with the signature abilities. You pick one of these that can be used at will. Now, if you need a quick option, pick your allies cannot save you. But I am enjoying some of the titles for these. We have Back Blasphemer. It's an AoE cube of 2 within 1 square. Power roll is presence. You're doing 2, 4, or 6 holy damage and pushing 1, 2, or 3. So if you need people to back the hell away, that's one way to do it. Then we have Every Step Death, which is a ranged strike with a range of 10. Power roll is presence. Deals 5, 7, or 10 plus presence psychic damage. And each time the target willingly moves before the end of your next turn, they take 1 psychic damage for each square they move. It's definitely interesting. We have Halt, Miscreant. It's a weapon strike. Does a might roll. You're either doing 2, 5, or 7 plus might holy damage. And a weak, average, or strong potency slowed effect. Which can be ended on a saving throw.
I just imagine the halt sound effect from Daggerfall playing every time this is used.
Missed opportunity. Stop!
I know, right?
You violated the law!
Ah.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Stop. In the name of love.
Then we have your allies cannot save you, which is another melee strike, uses might, does either 3, 5, or 8 plus might holy damage, and each enemy adjacent to the target is pushed away from the target up to a number of squares equal to your presence score. I feel like this is a anti-swarm setup.
Sounds like it.
But then we have the heroic abilities. You call upon a number of heroic abilities, all of them bound to your wrath. So you choose one heroic ability that of the 3 wrath type, i.e. they cost 3 wrath to use. If you need a quick build, choose the Gods Punish and Defend. But we have Behold a Shield of Faith, which does holy damage. Until the start of your next turn, enemies take a Bane on ability rolls made against you or any ally adjacent to you. We have...
I like that one.
Let's see, Driving Assault. The melee strike. Power roll is Might. Deals damage and pushes 1, 3, or 5. And you can shift up to your speed in a straight line towards the target after pushing them. Let's see, we have the Gods Punish and Defend. Melee strike. Deals 5, 8, or 11 plus might holy damage. And you can spend a recovery to allow yourself or one ally within 10 squares to regain stamina equal to your recovery value. Or Repent, which is a ranged attack. Power roll is Presence, deals 5, 8, or 11 holy damage, and inflicts daze based on intuition. And the description of Repent, am I the only one thinking of the Penance Stare from Ghost Rider?
Stare.
And it says, you conjure memories of their sins to harry your foes. Then we have the 5 wrath abilities. You choose one of that list. You need a quick build, choose Purifying Fire. So we have Arrest, which is a strike that deals 6, 9, or 13 holy damage, and you grab them. If the target makes a strike against a creature while grabbed in this way, you can spend 3 wrath to deal holy damage to them equal to your presence score. Then change the target of the strike to another target within the strike's distance.
Has a very I am the law vibes there.
Mm-hmm.
I am the law!
Let's see then. Behold the Face of Justice, which has the tags of magic, melee, ranged, and strike, as well as weapon. So it can either be a melee attack or a range 5 attack.
I am darkness. I am the night.
So you're either doing 3, 5, or 8 plus might holy damage. And if the target has weak, each enemy within 2 squares of them is frightened of you.
I am darkness. I am the night.
And each enemy frightened this way is pushed up to 2 squares away from the target and takes psychic damage equal to your presence score. We also have Censored, which is a melee option. Do either 2, 3, or 5 holy damage, and when a target who is not a leader or solo creature is made winded by this ability, I believe winded is reduced by half health. So let me double check that. Yeah, winded is half max. So it is effectively this game's version of bloodied. But if they're reduced to half, they are reduced to 0.
Oof.
Which I guess you could say Censored is basically a low-level delete button.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Get the fodder off the field really fast.
Yep. Then Purifying Fire, which can be either melee 1 or ranged 5. Deals 5, 9, or 12 plus might holy damage, and based on potency, the target will have fire weakness 3, 5, or 7. While the target has fire weakness from this ability, you can choose to have your abilities do fire damage to the target instead of holy damage. Why am I immediately thinking of the incendiary ammo for the super shotgun?
I
Because
like that.
incendiary rounds or dragon's breath rounds for a super shotgun would be awesome.
The gods judge, fire cleanses.
Depending on the domain, I would probably reflavor the elemental weakness to something else, because it wouldn't make sense to do a fire weakness if you're, say, the storm domain. I know one might say, well, what would that mean if their domain is love? Psychic damage. Next.
Yes. Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
But and all of that was first level.
Yep.
But then at second level, you gain a perk. We're not going to get to perks until much later, but perks are analogous to feats, just without a lot of the stuff that pisses me off about feats. You also gain 2 new features based on your order. If you're an Exorcist, you gain Saint's Vigilance and a Sense for Truth. If you're an Oracle, you gain It Was Foretold and a Judge of Character. And if you're a Paragon, you get Lead by Example and Stalwart Icon. Also, the Paladin, the Censor that we have here, why do I keep thinking of the Sin of Pride from 7 Deadly Sins? I think it's the mustache.
Probably.
But you also gain one of 2 heroic abilities. If you are Exorcist, you can pick between It's Justice You Fear or Revelator. It's Justice You Fear deals damage and inflicts frightened. If they're already frightened, they instead take psychic damage equal to twice your presence. Revelator is a burst where each target takes holy damage equal to twice your presence. And each hidden target is automatically revealed and can't become hidden again until the start of your next turn. You can then use your Judgment ability against one target as a free triggered action. If you go with Oracle, you can get either Prescient Grace or With My Blessing. See, the latter lets you either yourself or an ally within 10 to do a strike signature ability or strike heroic ability as a triggered action, and it has a double edge on that ability. And remember that double edges mean that whatever they roll, the tier goes up by 1. If a heroic ability is chosen, reduce its heroic resource cost by 3. So they could do a heroic action for free, theoretically. I mean, you're spending 5 wrath, but it's... I always love when classes have these kind of team play effects. And Prescient Grace lets you can activate when an enemy starts their turn. A ally within range 10 can spend a recovery to allow the target to regain stamina equal to your recovery value. The target can then take their turn immediately before the triggering enemy. It's a very nice get back in the fight kind of move.
Yep.
And paragons can get either Blessing of the Faithful or Sentenced. Blessing of the Faithful. Until the end of the encounter, each target gains 1 surge at the end of each of your turns. And Sentenced deals damage, inflicts restrained, and while they're restrained, your abilities that impose forced movement can still move them. Congratulations, you've turned the enemy into a pinball.
Or if the battle is over, you could just drag them along with you.
But at 3rd level, you get Look on My Work and Despair. Whenever you use Judgment, you can spend 1 Wrath, and if the target has average potency presence, they are frightened of you, ending on a save. Additionally, when a creature judged by you is reduced to 0 stamina and you use Judgment as a free triggered action, if the new target has strong presence against you, they are frightened of you. If the target is already frightened of you, they instead take holy damage equal to twice your presence. You also can get a heroic ability that costs 7 Wrath. So we have the Edict of Disruptive Isolation, which is a 2-square aura. Each target taking holy damage in the aura equal to your presence score at the end of each of your turns, with 2d6 extra holy damage if they are judged, or if they are adjacent to any enemy. We have Edict of Perfect Order. Actually, I think all of these are edicts that are essentially aura abilities, which makes me think of the Paladin in Diablo. With Perfect Order, whenever a target uses an ability that costs Malice, we won't get to Malice until much later on. They take holy damage equal to 3 times your presence. If judged, they take an additional 2d6 damage. And the Edict of Purifying Pacifism. Until the end, when a target makes a strike, they take holy damage equal to twice your presence. And if they're judged, they take an additional 2d6.
Jeez.
An Edict of Stillness. Until the end of the encounter, or until dying, whenever a target moves or is forced moved out of the area, they take holy damage equal to twice your presence. A target judged by you who moves willingly takes an additional 2d6 holy damage. A couple of these would be really great for melee builds that are all about keeping the enemy close to you. On the other hand, you could force move them out just to screw with them.
Yep.
But at 4th level, you gain a characteristic increase. Both might and presence go to 3. You gain a perk. You gain 1 skill, and you gain Wrath Beyond Wrath. I think the Thundercats are going to sue somebody. The first time each combat round that you deal damage to a creature judged by you, you gain 2 Wrath instead of 1. You also gain a domain feature based on which Censor domain you picked. And each one of the domain features is pretty nice. I do in particular like Windwalk. You know, if you've got 5 or more victories, you can fly. If you already fly, you get +2 speed. But at 5th level, you gain a order feature. Either Evil Revealed, Prophecy, or Stand Fast. Evil Revealed lets you see through illusions. You automatically see through disguises and illusions of creatures who are your level or lower. Prophecy. Each time you earn a victory, you can make a number of 2d10 rolls equal to the number of victories each round. Record each roll in order. When you or a creature within 10 squares makes a power roll, you can use a triggered action to replace the total on the dice with your first recorded roll. And stand fast. At the start of each of your turns, you can spend 1d6 stamina to end one effect on you that is ended by a saving throw or that ends at the end of your turn. Any ally that starts their turn within 5 squares of you can also spend stamina to get this.
So if you're trying to regroup, that's a good way to, get people back on their feet.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, you also get at the same level, you also get a 9 Wrath ability. Whether it be God's Grant Thee Strength, Orison of Victory, Righteous Judgment, or Shield of the Righteous. Which I could see Shield of the Righteous being very useful, especially if you're doing a melee build. Since you're dealing damage, and each ally adjacent to you gets temporary stamina. At 6th level, you gain Implement of Wrath. Each time you finish a respite, you can choose one hero's weapon, including your own, to channel supernatural power as an implement of your god's wrath. The weapon becomes magic and gains the following benefits. Strikes deal extra holy damage equal to the wielder's highest characteristic score. Any creature struck by the weapon who has holy weakness and has presence equal to your strong potency or less is frightened and weakened. Any minion targeted by the strike using the weapon dies. The minion's stamina maximum is removed from the minion's stamina pool before any damage is applied, and the weapon's wielder can't be frightened.
So this jibs minions.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. You also gain a perk. At 6th level, you gain another heroic ability based on your order. So Exorcist can either get Begone or Pain of Your Own Making. I knew you were going to say that. Oracle gains Burden of Evil or Edict of Peace. Paragon gets either Congregation or Intercede. Let's see, at 7th level, each of your characteristics goes up by 1 to a maximum of 4. You gain another domain feature. And I do like Blessing of Iron.
Yes.
While you're not dying, enemies take a bane on strikes against you or any ally within 3 squares of you.
I don't know, I'm kind of fond of Ride the Lightning.
The Covenant of the Heart.
Let's see. Ride the Lightning. Lightning and thunder infuse your body. Whenever you use an ability to deal rolled damage to another creature, the ability does extra lightning damage equal to your presence. Additionally, if you use an ability that force moves a creature, the force movement distance gains a bonus equal to your presence. While you're under the effect of Windwalk, the lightning enhances your locomotion and you gain a bonus to speed equal to your might. If Windwalk already gains you a bonus to speed, this adds to that.
So it's like chain lightning while moving.
Which...
Ride the lightning!
Don't make fun of my man Kai.
One of the more popular builds back in 4th edition was Dragonborn Paladin. I feel like Dragon Knight Censor is the reincarnation of that.
Yes.
Which, of course, is what... And of course, they knew Ride the Lightning was going to be cool, which is why they got art of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you also gain Focused Wrath. When you gain Wrath at the start of each of your turns during combat, you gain 3 Wrath instead of 2. You also gain 1 skill. At 8th level, you gain a perk, a new order feature, either Demonologist, their past revealed, or Vow. You also gain a 11 Wrath heroic ability.
Oh my.
That just sounds like it would be, I'm going to kill you for the Lord. Just trying to figure out something else to say, and my brain was not. It's not there anymore.
Oh. Let's see. Which the options you have for this are Excommunication, Hand of the Gods, Pillar of Holy Fire. Your allies turn on you.
Oh.
See, I like your allies turn on you because, like, I was trying to do that in our campaign and I couldn't remember the word. So I was like, turn, damn thing. I don't know. So I like that. That's an actual ability because I don't feel so like crazy now. Like Imperio. I don't know.
I don't know. Hand of the Gods is pretty good because you can use your enemies to flank other enemies.
Mm-hmm.
I like that too, but I just really like that your allies turn on you because yeah.
Though something else that's very interesting with Hand of the Gods is, while the target is judged by you, you can choose to make them the source of any of your abilities.
Yep.
The more I see about this class, the more I see that they are very much anti groups.
Yeah, because
Like-
they're not
Like-
only a tank, but they're also crowd control in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I mean, a good tank is crowd control. Just saying. I mean,
Saying
You're not
y'all are talking
wrong.
some mad shit for some really solid looking grid coordinates. But at 9th level, you gain improved Implement of Wrath, which just adds to the Implement of Wrath feature you got earlier. So the wielder and each ally adjacent to it gain +2 to saving throws. Meaning that a saving throw is essentially a 4+ save. At the end of each of the wielder's turns, each ally adjacent to the wielder makes a saving throw against each effect on them that is ending by a saving throw. And you have Corruption Immunity 10. You also gain one more heroic ability from your order. Exorcist can get either Banish or Terror Manifest. Oracle can get Blessing and a Curse or Fulfill Your Destiny. And Paragon can get either Apostate or Edict of Undying Resolve. And Apostate is foul.
Mm-hmm.
First off, it costs 11 Wrath. It is a melee attack, but it's doing 13, 19, or 26 plus might holy damage. And until the end of the encounter or until you are dying, the target has damage weakness 10.
Jeez.
Like I said, foul.
so
Yeah.
I mean, remember how we were talking about the favorite child? I think we found the favorite child of the censor here. Like all these are good, but I mean, that's insane.
Well, if you want to be the traditional fuck shit up paladin, I feel that that's what the Paragon is for.
Yep.
I kind of
See,
like the
look,
Oracle with their
I-
fulfill your destiny.
I like the Oracle a lot. Like just everything with the Oracle and the love domain combined makes me very happy. So I'm like, that's kind of like, if I were to go one, it would be that, being honest.
Yeah. So
But that fulfill your destiny is really good.
triggers when you or another hero ends their turn. The target takes their turn after the triggering hero and immediately resolves all conditions and negative effects on themselves. During their turn, the target has a double edge on power rolls.
Yeah.
So not only cleanse themselves, but can fuck you up next turn.
Blessing and a curse is also really interesting, because it's not like, oh, you definitely need to go for fulfill your destiny.
Yeah, I was looking at blessing and a curse as well, just because I was like, fulfill your destiny was so cool looking, but I was like, wait a minute.
Oh god, Terror Manifest is also pretty cool.
There are no wrong answers here.
Yep.
No, definitely not.
There are not any wrong answers, God. Like, if we just play an entire campaign of this with without all paladins, wow, sorry, all censors. Oops,
Oh, do
all
we call
censors.
ourselves the Amen?
Joe, I want to throw
Oh,
things at you.
No,
It's
would
not
be
my joke!
no, we'd be called the Inquisition because nobody expects it.
Do we get the song and dance number?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
At 10th level, your might and presence go up to 5.
Well,
Which fuck, that may
I am.
not
I am
sound
pain.
like much, but given what we've seen with both might and presence in this, that is far more deadly than it might appear. You gain 1 crafting, lore, or supernatural perk. You gain 1 skill, and you gain the Templar feature. You are the ultimate representation of your god's justice in the timescape. Whenever you use your judgment ability, you can use a free triggered action to use a conduit domain effect. We'll get to conduits next week. The domain has to be associated with your chosen domain or a domain you access with virtue. We'll get to that in a minute. If the effect calls for the use of your intuition score, you use your presence score instead. If the effect uses your conduit level, you use your censor level instead. Additionally, whenever you take a respite, you can open a portal to rest in the presence of your deity and bring along any allies. When you do, you can ask your deity 3 questions, which the director must answer honestly if your deity knows the answer, though they might answer cryptically or incompletely. When you finish your respite, you and your allies can appear at any location in the timescape where someone worships your deity. While you rest in their presence, your god might also give you priority targets to enact justice upon. You and your allies each have a double edge on power rolls made against such targets. If you attempt to open a portal to your deity again before you have defeated your priority targets, you suffer your god's wrath as determined by the director.
Smite these people or get smacked.
It gets, smite these people or get smote.
Let's see, Virtue. You have an epic resource called Virtue. Each time you finish a respite, you gain Virtue equal to the XP you gain. You can spend Virtue on your abilities as if it were Wrath. Additionally, you can spend 3 Virtue to access one of your deity's domains that you usually don't have access to. When you do, you can use that domain's features until you finish another respite. Virtue remains until you spend it.
Interesting.
Favorite child.
So even if you don't have wrath at the start of battle, if you have virtue, you can just go to it from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wrath of the Gods.
Yep. When you gain Wrath at the start of each of your turns during combat, you gain 4 Wrath instead of 3.
Lord.
I am the law.
No. I think it's more of a I kick ass for the Lord.
You can't for the Lord, indeed. Yes.
But you know, it's funny that earlier when we were looking at this early on, we were comparing this to the traditional paladin. By the time we get to the end of this, there is no comparison.
Absolutely not.
No,
What the
I'm a paladin main over here right now, and I'm like, oh no, there's no comparison here.
So the obvious joke must be made. What's a paladin?
Mhm.
Yuck.
But the way they use Wrath, it's funny that we made a few Guilty Gear jokes because this honestly feels more like a super meter than a MP setup.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, specifically the kind
And
of
when
super
you're
meter
right, you're right.
you'd see in any 2D fighter over the last 30 years.
The tension meter.
Mhm. Especially any of them that have levels of it. You know, like the Versus series or any of the King of Fighters games over the decades. Even if some of them piss me off. Look, I have PTSD from SNK boss syndrome,
Oh god, don't even remind me.
especially of fucking geese.
Which one?
Yes.
Okay, your point is well seen.
I hate dealing with Canadian geese because they turn my bike trails into a minefield. And I hate Geese Howard from years of him causing me no end of annoyance, going all the way back to Fatal Fury.
Predictable.
Uh, and of course, if I'm talking about SNK boss syndrome, how can I not bring up Orochi? Fuck Orochi.
Oh yeah, fuck Orochi in the ear.
But I do like that there is this natural progression between being far more of a direct agent with your particular deity. Like by the time you reach 10th level as a censor, you're not far removed from a angel of your particular deity. And I have a feeling that it was an interesting move to choose this art at the end for the description of the censor. Because contrast that with I think it's implied to be the same censor that you see at the start of the class.
Not to mention the art on page 90 here seems to be like a natural progression of the censor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a blue dragon knight.
Hmm?
You're going from standard armor to this guy walks in the room, everybody shuts up and pays attention.
Truth.
You know, it's essentially having the attitude that people are implied to have whenever a Astardi shows up. Compared to you, I am a demigod, a blonde-haired bitch named Vincent Valentine. Wrong Valentine. You're thinking of Luke Valentine, not Vincent.
Dang.
How do you get those two mixed up? One of them is a boss, the other one is a bitch. Should be pretty self-explanatory, I would think.
You'd think.
But if if this is the first class that we're dealing with, I only shudder to think how the others are gonna work, since I'd say at the end of this, you have a total of let's see. I mean, for starters, I appreciate the fact that your subclass matters right out of the gate instead of maybe a few levels in.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it's fair to say that your choice of order is going to be one of the biggest determining factors in your playstyle. If you're playing Exorcist, you're a little bit of trickery. If you're Oracle, you've got a bit of support, and if you're Paragon, you are the most doubling down in fucking shit up. But even though it's a frontliner, it's not like you're a one-trick pony. But as far as what you end up getting, you have Judgment, you have My Life for Yours, and
As a frontliner, you get a lot of crowd control, which I actually really like.
yeah. So you're getting a good variety of stuff. And I don't think a whole lot of it is useless. I do think it's an interesting move to go with set damage for a lot of these actions. I do wonder if we're going to be seeing others that use more rolled damage, or if this is how it's going to go with a lot of them. I have a feeling rolled damage isn't going to be as common.
Hmm.
Though I will note, when it comes to the idea of kits, they're essentially equipment styles. There's not really a weapon list. It kind of reminds me of the stance system that was in the MMO Granado Espada, where each kit has a set of equipment, some stat bonuses, and a signature ability. So that's one more ability that you get in addition to your heroic ones. Think of it as the kit gives you one variation of a basic attack, in addition to all the other stuff you're getting. And your guy goes, "The Slayer has been activated." I repeat, the Slayer has been activated. If there's anybody who would fit I was gonna say that he would fit the Censor, but not really. I feel like when we get to the Fury, that would fit the Slayer more. But even with that, there's a lot of variety, and I can see people making some crazy ass builds with this alone. And what makes me happy is one thing that has annoyed me with Paladins is not present here. I think we've all had to deal with that guy situation when it comes to Paladins.
Na that man.
Fuck that guy. You know, you either fall and become a blackguard or your character dies kind of situation. You know, the lawful stupid paladin.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even have an alignment set up here, so we don't have that problem. And Hemov goes, "Want to know how to make a space wolf end you horribly? Insult is mead." Go ooh. Yeah, if you did that around a space wolf, you would be the first person to break Atmo without the use of a ship.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. But I'd say overall we the censor gets a thumbs up. At least on my end. What about you guys? What do you think of what we've seen of the censor's kit?
I like
All
it.
killer, no filler.
10 out of 10 would play.
I would absolutely
God damn right.
do that love oracle. It'd be fun.
But next week we will be the next time we tackle this, we'll be tackling the conduit. I was gonna say next week, but then I remembered the 3-in-1 rule, which does mean it's gonna be a couple weeks before we get to the conduit here. Which I was making analogies to the cleric for the conduit, but if the censor is any indication, I have a feeling that I will be eating my words on that.
Nom nom nom.
Yeah, but next week we will be covering the quick start for the game Doom Spiral. So that should be a interesting experience. And of course, there's plenty of stuff coming down the pipe. Tomorrow will be the session 0 for the next adventure when it comes to the Cloister of the Dice. That being the Perils of Arrogance.
Nice, I'm there.
Yeah. After that, there's going to be about a week before we do session 1 proper, because Kay is going to need a bit more time to handle the art. But beyond that, there's going to be plenty more stuff coming, as well as the fact that I've talked about this elsewhere, but there is one interview I'm going to be doing tomorrow night, and the main hint I will give is you gain Bruzov. Because a TTRPG is in the works. And I will be interviewing the developers of that tomorrow.
Nice.
So yes, my legs are okay. Which is funny because while we're not getting an I remake, we are getting a game set in the I universe. Talking about the whole demon war that was hinted at in the game. And for those of you who have never played I, it is, even to this day, I can't think of any games like it. I is a fever dream. A fever dream that feels like what would happen if Deus Ex, Warhammer 40k, and Ghost in the Shell had a very, very screwed up child.
Interesting.
And that is the quickest summation I can give of it. It gets kind of crazy. I'll have to show you one of these starting weapons in the game later.
Oh, goodness.
Gracious.
But, and of course, this Sunday I will be interviewing Alexander Macris again, hopefully.
Oh, nice.
For his upcoming book, Before All Others. Which is, he already did one about dwarves with the axe. Now he's doing one on elves. So that'll be fun to go into. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.